Coming up on today's show, unfortunately, we have some more injury news to get to coming out of training camp. Justin Simmons has missed some time. Mike McGlinchey was helped off the field. So we'll get you guys up to speed on all the latest on the injury front. And then I want to take a break from talking injury news because it just bums everyone out. And I want to talk about something positive, which is ESPN picking a Broncos player as a breakout candidate for 2023. But let's get started, unfortunately, with the big news item, and that is Justin Simmons, as he has missed the last few practices with a groin injury, according to Sean Payton. Now, Simmons got off to a white-hot start in training camp. He picked off Russell Wilson. He was batting down passes. He looked like a player who had a career-high 6 interceptions a season ago. Simmons looked every bit of an all-pro safety, and I'm here to start the campaign of Justin Simmons should get some more appreciation. But unfortunately, a groin injury has kept him on the sideline. And you know what? Sean, I'll say it. Shut it down. John Taffer style, shut it down. Shut Simmons down until September 10th against the Raiders. I don't need to see anything more from Justin Simmons. He came into camp in shape. He looked good in the first week or so. What more do I need to see from Justin Simmons? He has never been the issue. He has never been the problem. Justin Simmons has always been the most consistent player on this defense for the last 5, 6, or 7 years. I have seen everything that I need to see out of Simmons. I do not want to mess around with a groin injury, which, if you recall, and if I'm correct, it's what led him to have a brief stint on the IR last year when he missed 4 games. So for that reason, yeah, I don't need to see any more of Justin Simmons. I have seen enough. I think we get the picture loud and clear. Other guys I don't need to see, it's a short list. Pat Surtain, he's an all-pro player. I think I've seen enough, meaning he does not need to play in the preseason. These guys, once they're healthy, or Simmons at least, sure, they can play some practice snaps or whatever, no doubt about it. They're not above the team where they get to stand on the sideline until September 10th, but they don't need to go out in harm's way. I don't need to see either of these players play in the preseason. I get what Sean Payton is trying to do of we're doing a 180 of last year, but don't overdo it, Sean. Do not put Simmons or Surtain in harm's way. Shut it down. And also, I just want to remind you guys that Simmons is fucking awesome. Last year, he had 6 interceptions, and he only played in 12 games. The season prior, 5 interceptions in 17 games. I mean, look at the interceptions numbers. 6, 5, 5, 4. He has been one of the most underappreciated defensive backs in the National Football League. But with him out on the safety room, it's going to give an opportunity for some other guys to step up a little bit more. Kareem Jackson is an NFL vet, which means he gets some rest days every so often. We also don't need to see a whole lot of Kareem Jackson. We know who he is as a player. It's not his first Broncos training camp. So this means Caden Stearns, the third-year guy now out of Texas, Delaren Turner-Yell, out of Oklahoma, another player we're going to see some more of. J.L. Skinner, rookie from Boise State. But Caden Stearns is someone that I've always had a bit of a man crush on. Last year, he filled in so nicely for Justin Simmons. Remember that Week 2 game against the Houston Texans? Week 2 or Week 3? He was awesome. He was making plays. He was picking off passes. I'm very excited to see how Caden Stearns runs with this opportunity because I always wanted the safety room to be Caden Stearns and Justin Simmons. They keep bringing back K-Jack. I've got nothing against K-Jack, but he keeps getting in the way of my man Caden Stearns. But I'm excited to see how he runs with this opportunity. Hopefully, he stays healthy. But I want to show Justin Simmons some love right now. I want Broncos country to show up right now and show out. Spam 31 in the comment section. I know it might feel a bit juvenile, but just hear me out for a moment. Justin Simmons, these guys name search more than you think. He wants to know what the fan base is saying about him. And he wants to know that he's got a long-term home here in Denver. And that way, you might see a couple 131s in the comments and go, you know, the next time I'm a free agent, maybe I take less money. Maybe I stay here in Denver because I want to play in front of these fans for the rest of my NFL career. Other injury news to get to now. Mike McGlinchey, the big-name free agent acquisition from the San Francisco 49ers. Well, he left practice today, at least briefly, with an injury. Zach Stevens tweeted this out. After limping off the field, trainers worked with Mike McGlinchey on the side, and it appears he is back with the team. So a bit of a scare, no doubt about it. I would not be shocked if this injury leads to Mike McGlinchey sitting out the first preseason game. Didn't get any sort of post-practice update on his status, but definitely something that raised some eyebrows and probably some heart rates along with it. Eric Delilah also added to this by tweeting out, right tackle Mike McGlinchey was shaken up during 9-on-7 work. He's walking under his own power to the locker room. So it's practice. It's August. You don't need to push anything. He probably just wants to go inside, get a better look from the trainers. Wasn't carted off. Didn't look like anything too serious, but there's just no sense in playing with any of this stuff right now. We can get a better depth chart actually up in just a moment here. But left tackle Garrett Wilson comes back. Ben Powers at left guard. Lloyd Cushenberry at center. There's Mike McGlinchey joining the right side of the offensive line. Everyone clap it up for producer Smitty. New guy is doing one heck of a job. Quinn Miners steps in at right guard, of course. So with McGlinchey maybe down for, I don't want to say long, but if he does miss, not regular season time from this, but what it could look like for the preseason, Prince Cam Fleming was signed as this team's swing tackle. So Fleming would probably be that first guy to step in and take over for whether it's Bowles or McGlinchey at tackle. Unfortunately, the bad injury news train continues. Brandon Johnson, a wide receiver who was a UDFA last year coming out of UCF. I was very high on him coming out last season when Denver got him after the draft. He was great in training camp. He had a bad ankle sprain, unfortunately, in a preseason game, and as a result, he was released by the Broncos, later brought back on, even scored a touchdown in the regular season for them. But he went down in practice. He was shaken up. He was on all fours at one point. He had to get helped off the field. It was a scary moment, no doubt about it, especially for Brandon Johnson at a position where Denver is already becoming razor thin at wide receiver following Tim Patrick's injury. But here's what Broncos reporter Trey Rank had to say. Talked to a source about wide receiver Brandon Johnson, who left practice with a leg issue. Early word is that he should be fine. He has capitalized on his opportunity, has had terrific camp, so love to see him back out there soon. And like I said, his opportunity is filling in for Tim Patrick, because when you look at this wide receiver room, yes, Marvin Mims will move up a spot, but Marvin Mims is not going to replace Tim Patrick, right? Marvin Mims is there to stretch the field. Marvin Mims is there for the big plays. Tim Patrick is there to work over the middle of the field, to help move the chains, and most importantly, be a red zone target. That's not Marvin Mims, but that could be Brandon Johnson, which is why he might not be a household name. But last year, Denver on offense struggled all over the field, but they were bad in the red zone because they never really had a true red zone target, and that's where they sorely missed Tim Patrick. This year, they're going to miss him again. Hopefully, Brandon Johnson can fill that void, but we need him to be healthy, of course. Injuries always happen, and I don't suspect that these are being from overworked and too long of practices, but I do wonder if Sean Payton was maybe a bit too aggressive in his 180 approach from last year, and we're starting to see a lot of players go down because Sean Payton goes, last season I heard you guys were playing Kahoot and having field days and water balloon fights. Yeah, that's not happening anymore. We're going to play football every single day. We're going to put the pads on and play as long as the CBA allows it. And I get the message that Payton is trying to send, which is whatever we did last year or whatever you guys did last year was a complete and utter failure. So we're doing the opposite this year. But maybe don't overcorrect so far where when the regular season rolls around, you're like the Tom Thibodeau of the NFL and all of your players are burnt out. You don't want to see that happen either. All right, before we get on to the rest of today's show, we're doing a sub battle with our Raiders Report foes here at Chat Sports for the month of August. They've got a 9-sub lead on us. Plenty of time to take them back, though. I'm not concerned at all. And I look forward to Denver beating Las Vegas in Week 1. If you're ready to crush the Raiders Week 1, hit the subscribe button. Let's get the good vibes going as Denver kind of ends a bad drought against the Raiders. Now, let's talk about a breakout candidate. Quinn Miners was included in an ESPN article and labeled as a player who could go from starter to Pro Bowl. Now, Miners last year had 13 starts. He got injured, unfortunately, early in the year and had to go on IR, I believe, after the Seahawks game. But he had starts at left guard and right guard. But with Ben Powers coming over, he is the full-time right guard on this offensive line. The former third-round pick out of Wisconsin Whitewater no longer wants to be known as Belly, which is a bummer because that's a top 5 offensive lineman nickname. But I definitely can get behind Belly Meinerz having a breakout season in 2023. I mean, I would say, it's not even breakout, right? It's what Barnwell said it is, which is going from starter to Pro Bowl. And he played at a Pro Bowl level last year, in my opinion. He was the 6th best guard in PFF's eyes. Overall grade of 77.7. So I only have reason to believe that he's going to get better going into season number 3. Hopefully he's healthy. And like ESPN picked, he's going to go from just some above average NFL starting guard to a Pro Bowl caliber player. And he's going to be a big part of this turnaround in the offensive line. Only 2 years in, but hear me out for a moment. I'm getting major, he should be a Bronco for life vibes, right? He loves this team. He's embraced the city already. I would love to see Quinn Miners get a 2nd and get a 3rd and maybe in a 4th contract with the Broncos because I'm getting a Justin Simmons on the offensive side of the football type of feel where he wants to be here, team wants him here. He's a great football player. I love Belly. I love Miners. I want to see him ride out his entire career with Broncos country. In case you're wondering, here were the other ESPN selections for starters to Pro Bowlers. Garrett Wilson, I can see that for sure. Charles Cross, that one stings. That means Denver could have had Miners and Charles Cross. Jaelan Phillips for sure. Jaquan Brisker and Jalen Pitre, a pair of safeties entering their 2nd season. Now, off the wall question here. Name a random Broncos offensive lineman. The more random, the better. You cannot be surface level. No big-time names, no Garrett Bowles or anything like that. I'm talking deep cuts for offensive linemen. Let's see how random we can get down in the comments section. So, with that being said, we have our hot takes for the summer. It is a high of 83 degrees today in the Mile High City. So we have a nice warm plate take to continue our way until the regular season. And my warm plate take today is Hard Knocks is still great. Hard Knocks comes back tonight. It's with the New York Jets. And there is always that group of people that think it's so cool now to say, Hard Knocks sucks. I can't even remember the last time I watched it. You're lost. I love Hard Knocks. I enjoy watching Hard Knocks probably more than preseason football. And I know that's going to raise some eyebrows. But after the first preseason game, we will all be on the same page, which is, can we fast forward to the regular season now? Hard Knocks, I look forward to every single episode. So I don't know if this really has to be said, if it's all that hot takey, but there has recently been some pushback on Hard Knocks. I don't get it. I still love Hard Knocks. If you're a Hard Knocks guy, knock if you're with me.